MentorShelly, wanting to make sure that you become a better version of yourself professionally, guys. I actually did a live about a week ago in regards to the return to office policies, especially the name you see up here, or Mr. Musk himself, was one of the ones that was the pioneer or proponent of making sure that people returned to work. Actually just into an article that was published by CNBC. Laura Kolodny writes, Tesla struggles with Elon Musk's strict return to office policy. I wonder why. Let's get into this article. It was written a couple weeks ago, but it's important to note because these employers are pushing so hard for people to return to the office, return to the brick and mortar, return to the corporate collaboration that made them successful. And of course, we'll see why that's becoming so difficult for Elon Musk's company in 2 seconds. More than 3 months after Elon Musk's back to office edict, Tesla still doesn't have room or resources to bring all its employees back to the office, sources say. The company is now surveilling employees' attendance, with Musk and other executives receiving detailed weekly reports on absenteeism. This is a waste of resources, but I'll keep going. Some employees who were previously designated as remote workers, but who still said they may not be able to relocate to meet the work return to office requirements, were dismissed in June. Okay, so he's getting rid of folks too. Tesla CEO Elon Musk enacted a strict return to office policy this spring, informing employees suddenly by email on May 31st that they will need to spend a minimum of 40 hours per week in the office. Anything else, he suggested, was phoning it in. Oh boy. 3 months since the edict, Tesla still does not have room or resources to bring all its employees back to the office, according to people who work for the company in the United States and internal documents seen by CNBC. The people declined to be named because they are not authorized to talk to the press on behalf of the company. Of course, he wanted to keep this under wraps as much as possible. I'm sure he had a problem with this being exposed. The return to office policy has also caused a decline in morale. You think? Especially amongst teams that allowed employees to work remotely as needed before COVID-19. In general, Tesla has been open to remote work amongst employees in office roles before the pandemic. As the company's workforce expanded in recent years, the focus was on building out international hubs and a new factory in Texas. It did not build enough new workspaces or acquire enough office equipment at existing facilities in Nevada and California to bring all the office employees and long-term contractors in 40 hours per week. According to several current people who work there, Tesla recently wanted to bring its employees in the San Francisco Bay Area to the office for 3 days per week, but a shortage of chairs, desk space, parking spots, and other resources proved too much. Some of this was previously reported by The Information. Instead, Tesla set staggered in-office schedules back to 2 days per week. Even simple supplies like dongles and charging cords have been in short supply. On days where more employees are scheduled to work on site, crowded conditions send people to take phone calls outdoors, as Tesla never built enough conference rooms and phone booths to accommodate this many employees in attendance at once. A hit to morale. You think? The company is now surveilling employees' attendance with Musk receiving detailed weekly reports on absenteeism. He caused this. You put out such an edict, did not prepare for it, and then wonder why it's blowing up in your face now. Come on. In early September, internal records show about 1/8 of the employees were out on a typical day in Fremont, Fremont, California, the home of Tesla's first U.S. vehicle assembly plant. All across Tesla, that number was only slightly better, with about 1/10 of the employees absent on a typical workday. Oh boy. The numbers have remained within that range since March of 2022, predating Musk's orders, according to internal reports viewed by CNBC. Absenteeism spiked on weekends and around holidays, one might expect. Absenteeism at Tesla is measured using data from workers badging into facilities with unplanned absences divided by planned time off to tabulate the daily totals, according to the internal records and people familiar with reports sent to Musk. Not all employees are tracked the same way. Direct reports to Elon Musk do not have their badge swipes counted for internal reports, for example, obviously. The return to office policy, murky and informal as it is, has caused a significant decline in morale amongst employees, according to the internal message seen by CNBC. Before COVID-19 restrictions, Tesla managers generally figured out how many remote workers was appropriate for their teams. Musk's hardline policy eliminated that freedom in theory, though some execs may still be able to carve out deals for exceptional employees. Oh my God. In early June 2020, right after Musk's mandated the 40 hours on site for all, Tesla made steep cuts in its headcount. Employees who were previously designated as remote workers but could not relocate to be in the office for 40 hours for a 40-hour a week were given until September 30th to move or take a severance package from Tesla. So right now we're at September 28th. There's going to be a whole drop in decline because there's going to be some people that can't move. About a week after making that offer internally, Tesla's HR asked people who lived far away whether they plan to move and work in a Tesla office 40 hours a week. Some of those who said they were not sure if they could relocate or who said they definitely could not move were dismissed in June. Without warning. Oh, so they got rid of them if they even hesitated that they couldn't do it. Jesus. Were dismissed in June without warning, according to internal response read by the CNBC and two people directly familiar with the terminations. The policy also depleted some of Tesla's power to recruit and retain top talent. Of course, you're not going to have that power anymore because you're starting to treat your employees like trash, because in a lot of ways, I feel now this is not me saying this is what's really going on, but just based on your hard line to have people return to the office, Mr. Musk, you've done internal and external damage to your own company, because you're so relentless on having control over people. They're not machines. They're not your slaves. They're employees. They have choices and they're making them. And so in some cases, some people are making their own choices. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. Anyway, the policy has also depleted some of Tesla's power to recruit and retain top talent. Of course, at least a few well-liked employees quit because they wanted more flexible arrangements, according to the internal response, and two resignations confirmed by CNBC. Some workers who lived far from Tesla's office are now living hours away from their families to meet the new requirements, one employee told CNBC. It's not necessary. He's just being a hard ass. This employee said they worried most of all about immigrant workers at Tesla who could lose their visas if the company suddenly decides to terminate their roles over shifting attendance mandates. Anything is possible. Any changes are flexible. It's really up to him and the executive board. And unfortunately, because he has such a hard line on this, it's going to cause even more damage to Tesla internally, and it's going to hit his bottom line as well. And that's the unfortunate part about this. That's my take on this whole thing. It's going to affect him in more ways than one. He's losing top talent already, as you can hear in this article. They also worry about how Tesla's closed-mindedness about remote work could hit the company's diversity goals. Oh, yeah. In its 2022 diversity report released in July, Meta disclosed that U.S. candidates who accepted remote job offers were substantially more likely to be Black, Hispanic, Native American, Alaskan Native, Pacific Islander veterans, and others with disabilities. And globally, candidates who accepted remote job offers were more likely to be women. In Tesla's most recent 2021 impact report, which was published in May 2022, the company boasted about how it kept employees feeling connected as they worked from remote offices. Yeah, that was right before he said no remote work. This is pretty much what this you're required to work at least 40 hours in the office. The report said, during the global pandemic, we focused a great deal on expanding our community engagement and ensuring our employees stayed connected. Specifically, we expanded our employee resources group and ensured our programming was accessible in a remote environment. We ensured our employees felt more heard and connected than ever before as they pivoted to virtual events to promote inclusion across different locations, physical boundaries, and time zones. Clearly, that's no longer important to you, Mr. Musk, because you made a hard line on the return to office policy. The company did not break out numbers for how many employees it allowed to work from home location before and after the pandemic began, or how that impacted the demographic mix of its workforce. Tesla did not respond to that comment. I seriously doubt they ever will. And the problem with this whole situation is that because he felt the need to be a hard ass, he felt the need to show people who is boss, you're going to do damage to your company, all because of this wonderful thing called ego and pride. And ego and pride and the level of control that you think you have over your employees, and you really don't. The problem is that this return to office policy, there was no preparation. You said that in May verbally, and we're now in September, and there was still no process or structure or plan in place to truly place these folks. No, you were doing it because you felt some kind of a way about people working from home and possibly working a second job. This was your way, Mr. Musk, of actually trying to prevent overemployment, which you cannot control people. If they don't want to be in your organization, they're going to leave and continue about their daily lives and make decisions for themselves as far as employment is concerned. You don't control your employees. And this work from home, people are working from home. They're going to have to still work from home because clearly your organization was not prepared for these changes. So my perspective on this, one, they were not prepared to handle the 40-hour work week back in the office. Two, because of poor planning, because of your hard line and hard and fast, instead of evaluating each department to see what was necessary to be in the office versus what's not necessary, you took a hard and fast line based on your mental and your perspective, not looking at all perspectives. You're only one man with one brain. However, you have a committee and you have a board and you have managers and you have leaders in place to help you make better decisions. Please lean on your leaders. Please lean on your managers so that your employees don't feel royally smacked upside the head based on how you're treating them now. All of this absentee reports that you're being sent on a weekly basis, Mr. Musk, is not necessary had you not taken this hard and fast line. There was a better way to do this. And clearly you took the route of most resistance and the most difficult route, and it's now affecting the very morale in your company. Human resources may, I'm sure, try to probably talk you out of doing it this way. However, you are the president of your company and you make the ultimate decisions. However, this decision unfortunately backfired and it is now going to affect your company for years to come. So making a brash decision, whether you agree with little old me, a YouTuber that's looking at this from an HR and a business standpoint, it's neither here nor there. I'm giving you my perspective based on the fact that you put a hard, fast line on something that your very company was not prepared to implement. So for future reference, employees, if you're in a situation where you are working for this company, definitely go ahead and branch out and look for other opportunities, because clearly He's doing what he feels is best, so you have to do what is best for your career as well. And of course, if you're looking for help in that area, definitely go to mentorshelly.com // consultations, where I can definitely help you get your resume together so you can start garnering better opportunities in the marketplace that has more flexibility than Mr. Tesla here. Of course, if you have other questions and you have concerns in regards to this and other types of return to office policies that you may be facing, or you know people that are facing that, you can always leave me a message here at mentorshelly.com / contact. You can leave me a voicemail or an email message, and I'm more than happy to return your voicemail or email within 24 hours, guys. Unfortunately, a lot of employers like this one will not that return to office policy is bad in every situation, but it wasn't necessary in this case. And now internally and in a lot of ways externally, it's going to blow up in Tesla's face. Thanks, Mr. Musk. You made a mess. All right, guys, take care. You have a good one. Bye.